the August 10th, 2015 public meeting of the Fayette County Area Planning Commission to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brenda, could you take attendance, please?
Yes. Brian Jennings.
Here.
Warren Sudoff.
Here.
Mark Flum.
Here.
Leota King. Here. Carl Hilton. Dick O'Neill.
Here.
Jason Waterman.
Here.
Ed Harrell.
Here.
Gabe Nobby. You do have a quorum.
First on our agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes of the May 11th, 2015 APC meeting. We'll take that one first and then discuss the next one. Did everyone have a chance to look over the minutes from May 11th?
Yes.
Any discussion or anything?
Yeah, Brian, your name's misspelled there in attendance.
Yeah, I know, I think, oh, yeah,
That's the only thing.
I'll change it.
Okay.
He's number one.
He's number one. I make a motion to be approved.
second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from May 11, 2015, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the minutes from May 11, 2015 are approved. Bill, do you want to have some discussion regarding the minutes from May 28th?
Okay, well, what we can do is we don't have there isn't a full number of copies here for everybody.
Yeah.
So what we will do at the, okay, we will, even if there's nothing else on the agenda, we will have a meeting on September meeting, so we can go through the minutes of the special meeting of May 28th, the special meeting of August 6th, and then also the minutes for this evening. So like I said, even if we don't have any public hearings, we still will have a meeting to take care of the business with the minutes.
So we will have those minutes at the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
Correct. That is correct.
All right. Next on our agenda then is public hearing, petition number 13845 from petitioner Deborah Reeb-Summer for a home occupation to teach certified nursing assistant classes. So at this time we'll open the hearing, and if the petitioner would come to the front and state your name and address.
My name is Debbie Reeb-Summer, and I live at 823 Walnut Street right now.
My name is Deanna Bennett DuBois. My address is 457 Oak Street, here in Connersville.
Okay, and who is the petitioner to
There's
for
actually
the home occupation? No, go ahead.
there's actually three of us. I'm the homeowner, and they own the business right now. Her name's Dina and her husband Johnny, and they live there. So we're wanting to get permission to do CNA classes, CPR, first aid, infection control, homemaking, personal assistance.
Okay, as part of this, could you please explain how you feel your petition meets the criteria for a home occupation business?
I don't think it will be disruptive to the neighborhood. It definitely will hurt the property values. I know this house that I own is more valuable, kind of appraised, than any of the houses on the street. Would be more likely to continually keep the outside maintained. There's proper ingress and egress. We're not going to use any more than 600 square feet of the house for the teaching facility. And we have a major focus on safety.
Are the classes, do they last, what time of the day and how long do they last?
They will vary. Whenever students apply, I'm going to take into consideration that group of students who needs day classes and who needs evening classes. No more than 2 days a week on the CNA classes. They have a clinical portion that they will take with the person we've contracted with. She's an RN, and that will be in this community or another community. So it'll be only about 50 hours in the classroom over a period of 6 weeks.
Okay. So you would have some day classes and some night, depending on the people you're teaching, when they can be there.
Now, are you giving classes now?
No,
No classes at this point?
no.
Okay, so you haven't really started the business yet then?
Yes, we've started the business, and I actually have had 2 teaching courses, just completed another. We're just waiting to see if we can get approval. Want to be within the law.
How many students do you anticipate in any one session or any one class or whatever?
The state recommends that we don't have any more than 10 starting out, and I seriously doubt that we can have 10 starting out.
For my CPR first aid and infection control classes, I can only have 6 students at a time for one instructor. So unless I had an assistant, I could only get 6 at that time for just that.
Now, can you explain the parking at the home?
Yes, I have a couple different ways I was thinking about. I own 2 houses side by side, and so I was thinking the house at 457, it has a blacktop drive, and it curves around in the back. But it's probably not a good idea to park back there because there's no way it would make a very good turn to get out. But we could park 1 car there in the drive, even 2 if we needed to, and 2 in the front with permission. And we could go up to 4 to 6 in the yard at 450 Oak Street if we needed to. And 2 in the front with permission. I know that takes special permission.
Along across the street from you, direct east of you, I know where this house is. I drive by it every day, but the gentleman that lives in the house just east of that, he just bought that, didn't he, that lot? So that's where you're talking about possibly parking some cars there? Or almost?
No, they originally said it would be okay,
Mm-hmm.
like when they first bought it.
Mm-hmm.
If I allowed students to park there. They've done a lot of work on that property, and they're utilizing it now. So they've changed their mind, and that's okay.
Okay, yeah, but there's basically nobody else, you can park on that side of the street without any problem, because that's basically a dead-end street going south.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's a public street, anybody can park there,
Yes, yeah,
as far as that goes.
sure.
Okay, the Indiana Angelical Technical School, who is that school registered? Who's the registered owner of that?
Dina and Johnny, her husband. And it's just a startup, and then I have my name on it as 5%.
The paperwork that we have said that you were the owner and that Dean and Johnny were employees. I don't understand the situation.
She's the owner of the property.
She is the owner of the property. But the paperwork, somewhere in here, it stated that Debbie was the person in charge of the corporation of Indiana.
Yeah, but,
And Johnny.
when we contacted the state of Indiana, they told us that the registration for the business is in your name.
I've changed that.
You've changed it, and when did you change that?
A couple months ago,
Okay,
if that long.
yeah, okay, yeah, because when we checked, it was shortly after you first came into the office, so it must have been since then. And so that would have been helpful if you could have brought that in to show us.
I'd really like to have, if you decide to approve it, I would hope that I could be approved too, in case they decide to move out and they don't move back. On the other hand, if it gets to be a large school, then I'm not gonna be able to stay there. I'll have
Right.
to rent a place somewhere.
Now, John might be able to correct me on this, but John, a home occupation exception is just temporary. Is that correct? So if she should move out, that home occupation with that residence no longer exists.
Right, it's granted to the individual at that residence, and if she moves, then there's no longer a home occupation.
Right.
And then if she wants to reestablish one in a new locale, she can do that by
Reapplying.
applying.
Okay, now, a question related to that then is, since there's multiple people involved with it, but the person who's actually living there is the daughter. Now say, Mrs. Du Bois, is that it? Okay. Now Mrs. Du Bois leaves, say she moves out, then what technically happens? Because,
Yeah, the petitioner should be the home owner or resident in the home for a home occupation.
yes, so if the person who's living there, that the name that this is under, that person leaves,
Then I think you no longer have a home occupation.
okay.
Pardon me. Yeah, so it'll trigger when you have more than one involved.
Yeah.
Who actually owns the real estate?
I do.
You own the real estate. Who owns the business?
She does,
And,
primarily.
yeah. Are you gonna be doing business with her in some form?
I'll be teaching some of the CNA classes.
Are you gonna be an employee or an owner of the business?
I'll probably be a contractor,
An individual contractor?
yes.
So you won't have an ownership of the business?
No, I do have a small ownership.
What's that consist of?
We just, the way it's set up now, which I can change it if I need to, but Dina and her husband has 95%, and I have 5%.
What type of, is it incorporated?
That's LLC.
A limited liability company?
LLC.
Yeah, are you involved, are you named in that as one of the participants?
Yes, secretary.
All right, so you are involved in the business and you have an ownership interest. Now, how is the ownership interest represented by what type of document?
It's just,
Is it in the LLC language?
yeah.
Are you
RFC.
named as one of the LLC participants and owners?
I'm just a share.
Sure, well, not sure, but I understand.
It's not shares.
You have an interest, yeah. LLCs are tricky.
Yeah.
So anyway, it sounds like she has an interest in the business and lives in the residence, so that would be enough for a home occupation, I think.
Other questions?
On the staff report, I'd like to hear a little bit of discussion about the statement that says, unable to justify defining a professional school with multiple students present as a personal service as identified in the area zoning code.
Okay, personal service, okay, here, find page 57. Okay. Okay, flip this around, page 57. Here we go. That's another one. Let's see if I can find that section right here. All right, let's see here. Oh, page 67. Okay, let's see. There's a page right here. Okay, such hearings, adoptions, so.
Did you talk to any of the property owners that live on that street or in that immediate area to see if they had any objections?
I talked to Judy Chapman and her husband, and she didn't have any objections at all. And then I sent certified letters to the surrounding neighbors.
Did you get any response from them?
No.
Hey, Kenny? Okay, yeah, because I'm looking for the section that lays out, discusses the professional services and so on. Oh, thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Yeah, standards. Okay. Yeah, it's in the general provisions. Number 2, it's 'cause this could be into an interpretation thing on the part of the boards. Home occupations will be of a personal service nature limited to domestic crafts and professional services included but not limited to A, domestic crafts such as dressmaking and so on. Such professions or occupations as law, medicine, architecture, engineering, planning, real estate, insurance, notary public, manufacturer's agent, clergy, writing, painting, photography, tutoring, etc. However, the service shall be limited to the conditions set by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And I just had, when I was going through with those, I just wasn't. It isn't tutoring because tutoring is pretty much a one-on-one thing. This is it's a class with multiple students coming in. And with me under there, I just didn't see any way in which this is really a, professional service under the zoning code. Yeah. I mean, So in light of, as we've talked about in times, there's a lot of significant changes from this model code that was used, is that there's open interpretations on the part of the Plan Commission and the Zoning Board.
I drove by the property today and went all the way down to the end of the street to see. I really don't feel like there's sufficient ingress or egress for 10 vehicles, and it did not look like there was room for that many people to be parked around the two houses. I can see maybe 6 cars by pulling 3 into each driveway. But that would be the maximum that I would see. It could be parked right there. And Jim and Judy Chapman live on Meyer Avenue. They don't live on Oak Street at all.
Right.
So their house would not be bothered by the traffic really. It would be turning into Oak Street and not be in front of Jim and Judy's house.
But they own the property on Meyer Avenue.
Yes.
On the corner.
Yes. But we've been kind of busy in the last couple of weeks, and I didn't have time to call any of the other property owners after I received this packet the other day for your other neighbors. And I see a couple of them are people in other states that are owners.
Bill, isn't the standard practice to send letters out to the neighbors both ways? To get their opinions?
All this is just a notice, there's nothing about as far as getting opinions. It's the same thing as goes into the newspaper. So if they wish to speak, but most of the units in the immediate area with the notices, 3 or 4 of the properties are actually rental units, only maybe 2 or 3 are actually owner occupied.
May I say something, Bill?
Yeah.
Now, this section says, home occupation exceptions will be of a personal service. And I think teaching is a personal service.
So you make the argument and the board agrees with you.
Okay. Nature limited to domestic crafts and professional services. And I'm a registered nurse. I have a 4-year degree. I have a teaching certificate. That makes me a professional, and she's had the training to teach the CPR. And it says including, but not limited to.
Tell me a little bit more about some of the other classes you're talking about in your application that you're going to offer.
Well, I'm a licensed instructor with American Red Cross. I'm authorized to teach CPR, first aid, and bloodborne pathogens. In the medical field, that's pretty much a necessity. I've been in this field for 15 years, and sometimes getting a class can be a little bit difficult to do, so I was hoping I could offer other people some more opportunities to be able to get into those classes with a little more ease.
And it's one-day class, usually 8 hours.
Yeah, if someone's coming in to be recertified, they could be one-on-one, they could be recertified in a couple hours. If it's somebody that's never had the class, it could take anywhere to 6 to 8 hours. And then they're certified.
It's like I said, I really don't think I'll have 10 people there. A lot of times students will drive together.
The zoning board does have the authority to limit the number of people also.
And then what about the personal services I saw in the application?
My husband is certified to teach personal service assistant and homemaking services, and basically what he is able to teach people is caregiving training to go into a person's home, to help someone to take a bath, housekeeping, any type of personal care that will help people stay in their homes longer instead of nursing facilities if it's been deemed safe by their doctor. Homemaking, we all know what that consists of: cooking, cleaning, sweeping, laundry, those sort of activities.
task.
Running errands and stuff like that, and so he teaches them how to do that, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, how to be safe during those activities when giving care to a person.
So it seems to me like the real question is, this is a technical school, so are we talking about starting a school, actually opening a business in a residential neighborhood, or are we talking about a home occupation business? That's the question that I guess we're talking about here. Indiana Angelic Technical School is the name of your business.
And it's a home occupation. It's what we'd like it to be. At least starting out. There's a great need for CNAs. Healthcare workers, I think, I was looking at a document from area planning. They take up most of the jobs in this county. And there's a high need for a well-trained people.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, the parking seems to be an issue, but I see you only, according to this diagram, you're only parking 4 cars on the street. The street is not heavily traveled at all, so I don't see where that's an issue, so.
It's a dead-end street.
Pardon?
It's a dead-end street.
Yes.
It doesn't go anywhere.
Yep.
And there's no parking on the opposite side, it's completely open.
You said that to mean there's no parking permitted, or nobody uses it?
It's just, nobody parks their cars
Nobody
there, and
parks
so
them.
it's, the traffic flow would cease.
Well, I don't know if people are allowed to park on the other side of the street or not.
Unless it's signed restricting it, they can park there.
Wow.
It's not restricted.
It's not, I don't think there's a sign there, I never saw one.
No, I know there's not.
Yeah, so,
Neighborhood watch on.
That could be an option.
yeah. Yeah.
I used to live up there and there's no signs on that side.
I don't personally think there's a real issue with parking up there anyway.
I don't think there is any. I agree.
Okay. Thank you, Elise.
Thank you.
Any comments from any other public? Okay. Well, we will close the hearing and then discussion among commission members. Any questions, any thoughts?
I don't personally see where there's a problem myself.
Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion regarding a home occupation request.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
That's, well, board a favorable recommendation, you're saying?
Right,
Zoning board.
okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call?
Brian Jennings,
No.
Warren Sudoff,
Yes.
Mark Flum,
Yes.
Leota King,
No.
Dick O'Neill,
Yes.
Jason Waterman,
I'm going to vote no because there wasn't a restriction on the number of students.
and Ed Harrell.
No.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 no's, 1, 2, 3 yeses.
Okay. All right. So, do we have an alternative motion? the alternative motion could also consist of sending no recommendation. Now, Mr. Baker, if we don't have an alternative motion, and we do not have a majority of the entire board, because we need a total of 5 votes, what happens?
You put it on the next agenda and come back.
Okay. All right, and would it be beneficial then if in the meantime you could see if it is appropriate and legal, that you could see a copy of the LLC?
Anything the petitioner wants to give us to
Yep.
bolster the position, that would be good.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, so this will be then tabled until the September meeting.
Mhm. Do we need an actual motion that states
I would,
that? Yes.
I move to table to the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call for table.
Okay, Brian Jennings,
Yes.
Warren Suda,
Yes.
Mark Plum,
Yes.
Leo DeKeen, Dick O'Neill,
Yes.
Jason Waterman,
Yes.
Ed Hiram.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor.
Okay, it will be tabled until the next area plan commission meeting. Bill, do you have the date of that, Randall?
Not right off the top of my head, does anybody?
September.
So see, I thought Ed had a calendar with him.
Yeah, it will be the 14th, does that sound right?
September 14th.
September 14th.
Okay. And as it's with this tabling is the area plan commission, as in the past, will take care of the notice in the paper. Because we've always done that in the past.
And again, if you would submit anything that could bolster this to Mr. McDaniel in between that time.
Or fine tuning as per the park and the comment that Mr., responding to Mr. Waterman's comment.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not understanding why there's only 5 votes. And I see,
We have 9 members on the board.
okay.
Okay, a quorum is 5 people. But what it requires is for any motion to carry, we need a total of 5 votes. So for example, say if only 5 board members were here and someone made a motion, all 5 board members would have to vote yes for it to pass. So any action that they have requires 5 votes for it to become a legal action.
It's a majority of the whole board, not a majority of those present.
Brenda and Bill and Mr. Baker didn't vote.
No, we are not appointed members of the board. We are staff.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda is the director's report. Bill?
I did not complete the director's report, my apologies.
So that's tabled till September.
I know.
Can we dock his pay?
What can I say is, my last one topsy-turvy, I have no excuse. You will have it for September, and it's gonna take up several months' worth. Fortunately, we're not gonna have a lot of permit numbers though for
You're
it.
gonna make it quick, though, right?
You already approved
If
it.
there's
Be the usual
no
routine.
items, I've moved to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Okay.
August 10th, 2015 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Okay. Carrie Steele?
Yes.
Jason Waterman?
Yes.
Kitty Burgess.
Yes.
Ed Harrell.
Here.
Bill Crawford.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, so approval of the minutes.
I move to accept as presented.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Great. Motion carries. Director's report?
Once again, September, you'll have a big one.
Sounds ominous. All right.
Say, since,
I'm gonna try and make it ominous.
since we
Ask me
don't-
to read it next time.
No, thank you. Yes, Kenny.
Since we don't have anything to talk about tonight, the ADA laws, Bill, when a new business comes to town, and are we the ones, as the area planning commission, in charge of making sure that they're compliant, or is it or who? Do you know?
Okay, it's the times that we have is when someone has done something that's actually triggered a change of use. Then we have done things to make people come up to into compliance with it. Just like there's the one with where the realty place used to be. They ended up putting in a ramp because it's after you asked the question, so they went ahead and came into me.
I would think the
And-
state would be involved in that, wouldn't they?
Well,
Seemed like they were involved in it when we dealt with it before.
yeah, well, one of the things with the state is it's when you actually trigger something, the state's involved, which is where the idea of the change of use comes in place. So if someone's doing something that requires triggering a change of use with the state of Indiana, which means when it's going to a more intense use, they then have to file. And then as far as the ADA goes, the one we get into that's usually the problem is if someone's doing it under that Rule 13.
Yeah.
Bill remembers the Rule 13. When someone's converting a dwelling into a business, and such as, well, I know that Carrie's went through that beforehand, but I know other people that have done it is they get the Rule 13, then the state inspector, they come in, and then it's like, okay, these are the things you're going to have to do. Usually it's limited, looking to what do they need to do as far as ADA. They don't tend to make them do anything with just a Rule 13 necessarily with the bathroom. It's usually recommended, but a big part is the ramps and the egress lights. That's the big ones they focus on.
But it just seems like with a lot of business, it's up to them if they want to, how much into it they want to get. If they don't want to do it, they won't do it. And then how do they get punished if they don't do it? There was a business here a few years ago that came to Connersville, and I'm glad they're here, but they refused to put in handicap parking. I mean, they just refused, and I talked to them. I tried to be nice to them, and they just refused. They didn't want to. So finally, after emails, and they finally put in parking, but it wasn't legal because there wasn't any upright signage, there wasn't any extra spaces and all that. And I tried to explain to them why those were there so you could get in and out, and it was just a fight. And it just seems like there should be a system to where, to me, it really didn't make it that much. I'm in a wheelchair, and I'll find a place to park. It's not that big a deal, but for a lot of people, they don't have that option. You know, now I talked to Bill about Buster's Restaurant. That's another one. I know they've got limited parking, so they made the parking spots as small as they can. But when it came to the handicap parking, there's no extra blocked out to where you can get in and out of your car. Then, just like with me, it's not because it's close, it's because you have to be able to get more room to get in and out of your car. So, I tried going there once, and I had to park at a business nearby to go there. And I won't go back now until they do something about that. And I just don't understand how you can just open up a business and just kind of decide whether you want to put handicap parking in or not.
I can help with some of it with my experience because I didn't go through any of the. I mean, honestly, I started an LLC. I said I was buying a business or I was buying a building for it. I mean, we registered everything. It was never brought up.
Yeah.
It was already zoned business. It was already.
It's already used previously as a business.
And then, one of the things that I looked at, actually, it was during the CAFO meetings, when it was hard to get you in and out. Honestly, the thing is nobody comes to my business. I go to my clients.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons I didn't, I completely agree and hear with what you're saying, but I think it's going to be I'm not sure who does it, because like in my case, I think it wouldn't, you know, other than those 2 or 3 times you've been in there at the office, that's the only time it would have ever been used, because nobody,
Right.
it's not open to the public in general.
But some places are open to the general public on a
Exactly,
regular
it should be,
basis.
yeah. But I think without that, I mean, you know, it's a pretty practical experience. I bought a building, I created an LLC, and not one single person said anything about it.
Well,
yet.
what I can try doing is I'll send out something on the Planning Association listserv and find out what other jurisdictions are doing this, so when there's a change of use with something, but it isn't triggering any type of, problem is when you get into when it isn't triggering any other types of permits, that what do they do to try to get people to come into compliance with the ADA?
Well, you know, I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, but it just seems like I didn't know. I mean, you can see all the rules, you can look at all the rules and the way it's supposed to be, but but rules are one thing, enforcing is the other.
Unfortunately, one of the way for business owners, one of the ways this is primarily done is the lawsuits.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, is the
Takes a lawsuit, that's basically how you get it done.
Yeah.
it's
Sad, but
pretty
true.
But
because-
it's not fair for private individuals to have to go out and enforce the law by filing
absolutely.
lawsuits, and I'm sure they could do that, but I don't know. That's just a question I've had for a long time and didn't really know the process. And I really still don't know the process of how that
It's like our
works.
business down there, they had like 2 days before we opened, and I was like, you need to do something.
Well, and
with this
Bill,
damn here.
Bill really helped me out
Well,
on
if it
that,
hadn't
you
been
know,
for
and
that-
not me. I mean, I think Bill sees me and
Yeah, I know. I see Kenny coming in the office and I roll my eyes.
and they had us go around.
You're on camera, Bill.
And when he
If I can't joke amongst friends.
well, it's
I think we're all friends.
we're Metronets where we're talking about, and they didn't at one time. They didn't have a way to get into the building except for around back. So you had to go. Anybody in a wheelchair or disabled had to go around back and go in through the back alleys to get to the back door, which you're not really supposed to go through there. And the only time I ever did that, people wanted to know what in the world I was doing going through there. Well, I'm trying to get cable TV, you know, and it just made it hard. So you kind of understand because you around me sometimes, and then even Bill, you've made it an issue here with Thomas the Train, and I appreciate that about when they came in with Thomas the Train at the courthouse. First thing they do is they take up all the handicap parking, you know, and put tents and stuff on handicap parking, and there's no place for anybody disabled to park there. So
Well, the people you really need to thank for that, though, is last year is Barton and Frank, and then this year is really Frank, Leota, and Zane.
Yeah.
So the commissioners is like, you know, we talked with the commissioners, and they're the ones really it's like last year with Barton. It was like, you can't do that. So
all right, well, thanks.
I mean, I really do try to, when someone's coming through something, you need a trigger permit, because I usually go through I say, well, you're gonna need some ramps right here, bathroom's gonna have to come up to ADA standards. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen a lot because we don't have a lot of people making those type of investments in businesses.
Right. Thanks.
But I will tell you though, is ever since with that knee surgery, Kenny, well, in particular, I'm more cognizant though of the handicap toilet.
That's good.
So,
That's
yeah.
good.
I try not to unless necessary.
All right.
Are we done?
Any other discussion?
I move to adjourn.
I'll second. I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Meeting adjourned.